Today I'm sharing some real-time Prismacolor pencil colouring. Hi, it's Therese from Lostinpaper and it's time to colour with you. I've got a fun image from Catherine Pooler Designs set called Fluttering Friends, and it's a sweet little bird image, and I'm stamping it out with some Ultra New Obsidian pigment black ink. Now this is a brand new stamp, I haven't prepped it, and I love the way this ink is stamping. It's very similar to the Onyx Black, and I have quite a few black inks in my stash, and there's always room for more, but this one slowly or quickly becoming one of my favorites. So this is real time. I just thought I'd share this with you, and all I did was clean my stamp, and now this is a pigment ink but very fast drying, and I could rub my finger over the ink and it didn't smudge at all. And it wasn't very much longer later that I zoomed in and started colouring, so I just wanted to actually test this ink and see how it goes without the wait time. You know how Onyx Black, I do like to leave that a little bit before I start colouring with my Prismacolors, because it can actually smudge a little bit, or otherwise I might just use a memento ink and then restamp after I've done my colouring. There's lots of ways that you can get around it and get that nice sharp image after. So I'm using just a few different colours today, and I will list those at my blog, and you'll find the link in the description below. Like I said, this is a real-time colouring video today, so if colouring is not your thing, you might want to skip forward to where the card gets assembled. Now I'm going to talk you through it. What I like to do with my pencils is actually add my shading before I add my Gamsol. So you might have noticed I've already put two colours down. I don't like to press too hard on my pencils, because once you've filled the tooth of the paper, it won't accept any more of the pencils, and these are a waxed based pencil. So you may have noticed there was a little bit of bleeding of the obsidian ink here, but like I said, I pretty much started colouring this as soon as I set up. I didn't actually leave it very long at all. So considering that fact, I think it did very well, and it's not going to stop me from colouring, because I'm actually just testing this ink out, and if it doesn't work, I can always start again. It's only a piece of paper. One other reason why you don't want to fill the tooth of the paper too soon is by adding extra layers. You can either add extra colours or extra depth or extra shading to your image. If you're not really happy with the tone of something, you can change it, and I'll actually do that here a little bit later on. You'll notice I'm actually doing it here straight away. Okay, so I have quite a few shorter pencils, and I had a lot of questions about this little tool. It's called a pencil extender, and they're really quite affordable, easy to come by. I just bought mine at an art supply store, but I know that Prismacolor actually make an accessory kit which has one within that little kit, so if I can find that, I will link that in the description below and also at my blog. But otherwise you can find these tools at an art store anywhere. So for some reason I decided to go for blue, which is probably not the best choice for today's card, because this card is all based around some leftover flowers that I had made from an Ellen Hutson post, where I actually painted the same floral bouquet, the Mondo Wildflowers, in 3 different styles of watercolour. So I will link that at my blog, so because that's not actually on my very own YouTube channel. That video you can only see at the Ellen Hutson channel, so if you head to my blog, you'll be able to link and see that there if you've missed it. And anyway, back to colouring. I have just a few blending stumps. I am lazy and don't want to have to sort of clean them and file them down each time I want to use a different colour family. So what I do is actually have a few different sizes because they are very cheap, and keep one for each colour family. And then to clean them off, all I do is actually add some Gamsol to the end of the blending stump and just wipe it across a piece of scrap paper, just like you saw me do there. I don't like to get the tip of the blending stump too wet because I find that it's you don't get as good a blend, but you sort of will learn, whatever paper you're using, what suits it the best. And if you're having trouble, one of the things I do suggest is to actually try a different cardstock. Sometimes it's the cardstocks that you're using that are making it more difficult for you to get the colours or the looks that you want. But generally I find that the Prismacolors are a very forgiving medium and easy to use. You actually don't need a really large set of these because you can make your own colours by blending them together, and I lived with the 72 set, and that's, I think, a lot of these piece stumps of pencils that I've got now are from my original set. They do last a very long time, and now over the years you can buy these pencils individually as well. So if you're not sure and you want to give them a try, just get a few and see what you think. But I love the look of these on coloured cardstock as well, and even over design paper. So if you get a really light pattern in a design paper, they look amazing. So I'm bringing in some of the sort of coral red colour now, so that this is going to actually kind of work together with the floral image that I have deemed to save. I was going to throw these offcuts out, and I just couldn't bring myself to throw them into the bin. And I had so much fun making that set of cards for Alan Hudson. I thought, well, I might as well try and use them on a card. I'm trying to be a little bit not more frugal, but use my bits and pieces rather than leave them sitting there to be thrown away in a year or two's time when I finally go through everything. So I'm not going to use something, I get rid of it. If I think I'm going to use it, I'm actually trying to be good and using it straight away. And here's what I was talking about before. I've actually come in and made my own colour by adding the reds over the top of the yellow, and I think that worked really well. And you can barely sort of see that the black from the initial colouring that I did with the Gamsol, especially now after I've restamped it with the obsidian ink. It looks amazing. And by the time I even blended out the blue, that wasn't even making those black marks anymore, so it was very forgiving. I do like this ink, it's working really well. Alright, so I'm just going to use the coordinating die cuts to cut out the little bird image. I did make a guide so that I made sure that the feet were straight and cut, because it has a little bit of a filled in area around those intricate portions of the die. And I've also got a sentiment here from Catherine Paula. This is called the Sweet Die, and I've die cut it a couple of times, once in some black cardstock, once in some fun foam, and joined them together with some matte medium. And stamping out the rest of my sentiment, I'm using obsidian again, and to be honest, like these stamps have never been used before. You've seen how I didn't actually add a lot of ink, and it comes out this real beautiful dark black ink. And these are the flowers I'm talking about. Like, these are the offcuts that I made a whole frame for a card in this watercolour, and they were coloured with brush markers. And I just added them to the side of my top fold card, added the sweet sentiment with some matte medium, and then popped up my little bird. And I was thinking that I kind of needed to bring a little bit of the blue into the background as well, and I probably could have and should have just left it as it was. But I've got like a little 3-dot stamp. It's from Altenew, and I'm using some blue ink, and I stamped it 3 times around the floral arrangement, and it looked weird. So then I came in with my Distress this is one of those distress pens. Most of mine have dried. I've actually had to throw quite a few of them away, but this green one luckily worked. And I drew some stems and then a couple of leaves to sort of join it, and I think that worked. I did try some sequins and it didn't make me happy, so this one. So if you like this video, please like it. If you haven't already, I would love it if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.